I'm sorry. I voted for him. I thought he was going to help folks like me. I really did. Now my SNAP's gone, my Medicaid's gone. They cut off my heat and help last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to buy groceries next month to keep the lights on. I ain't got no...
Okay, y'all, I can't. I can't do it. If I have one more Trump supporter tell me that I need to have some empathy for Trump or for them or what they might be going through right now because whatever's going on. Are you serious? Empathy? You want me, you want us to have empathy when you have spent the last 10 years denigrating everything we are. Attacking the LGBTQ community, attacking immigrants, attacking everybody that isn't you. Just a few months ago, y'all were gleefully talking about feeding immigrants to alligators. You sit here and laugh about people being separated from one another because they're criminals. So is Donald Trump. He has called me because I voted for Democrats. I'm a leftist. I'm those people he talks about. He has called me vermin. He has said that I have been poisoning the blood of this country. He has called me the enemy within this country that I love with every fiber of my being. So fuck you. You're not getting one bit of goddamn empathy from me. I don't wish him harm, but I don't give one flying fuck if he goes. And no empathy.
I just want to say to every American that's having trouble with this, I am sorry I voted for him. I regret it with all my heart. I feel like I've enabled this monster to destroy democracy, destroy everything that is good in this country.
We've got a very crazy man driving the train, and he's going to kill this country.
I've been a lifelong Republican since the day I turned 18. For the first time in my life, I'm going to vote a straight Democratic ticket. Is if they're connected to Donald Trump, they are not connected to me.
So you now are no longer a Republican?
I am not, no.
Because of Donald Trump?
Because of Donald Trump. It was no longer the party that I joined. It's morphed into something that's almost unrecognizable.
You were a lifelong Republican.
Right.
If somebody had told you, say 15 years ago, that you are preparing to vote a straight up and down Democratic ticket in the midterms, you would have said what to them?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
So why are you now doing it?
To see Republicans not stand up to him, and the ones that do are just quitting.
I just think there's no values left anymore. There should be values. We have no values. He doesn't have any values. I thought he had values.
No, I'm definitely voting Democrat. I've been knocking on doors. I got a clipboard.
You're even canvassing.
I am canvassing for a Democrat in Wyoming.
That's how strongly you feel.
I believe hardly anything the president says, but I do believe he's a danger to this country and to our democracy. I'm going to fight every day.
Trump voters are now asking for empathy, but too many people are saying it's too late because they're asking, where was that empathy in the voting booth? They supported harsh policies targeting immigrants and the people of color because they never thought the same policies would affect them too. And many people tried to warn them, but they ignored those warnings until it has started to personally affect them. So let's have a look.
I thought it would be easier the more I talked about leaving MAGA, being a 3-time Trump voter. But I have to be completely honest with you that it's not getting easier, and it actually feels like it's getting more difficult because I'm gaining more empathy. And I don't think people really realize how counterintuitive the hate that I receive when you can take one look at my page and see that I am doing the work.
Okay, I understand. I think many of us can understand how hard deconstruction is, and I don't want to negate that. But do you think it's as hard as having to ensure that every single time your children leave their homes, they have a copy of their passport on them? Is it as hard as knowing that a simple school drop-off could mean that you and your child are separated, never to return home again? Listen, I understand everything is relative, but it is important for anyone deconstructing from MAGA now to understand that Black and brown people no longer have the emotional bandwidth to coddle you at the moment, rub your back and tell you that everything you, a self-professed 3-time Trump voter, has contributed to is okay. Do I believe people like you need a soft place to land, a soft place to work through this awakening? Yes, but the reality is that onus is on your fellow white people who are not currently targets of this administration, who were never targets of this administration. Because the reality is you wished these conditions on us for the last 10 plus consecutive years. And since empathy clearly never factored into your decision making until now, we have to assume that something in your life had to be supremely materially impacted in order to justify this sudden, long overdue awakening. Our unwillingness to rub your back and emotionally support your way through this journey is not purely coming from a place of spite or vengeance, although those emotions are certainly justifiable. It's coming from a lack of trust. We are keeping our distance because we do not trust you. If you are telling us through your tears that a little or maybe significant online pushback to the devastating harm that you contributed to for over a decade, if that response is enough to send you running back to the Trump cult, you've made it very clear you are not trustworthy. You are not a safe person for us to be around, because we cannot be sure that as soon as whatever changed for you during this admin goes back to normal, that whatever he broke that caused you to wake up is fixed, that you won't immediately and gleefully skip back to the other side. I understand people like you have been privileged and sheltered your entire lives, and accordingly never had to build up any distress tolerance. But I'm gonna be real, now's the time to work on it. And I'm sure there are many people in your exact boat that you can build a support group with. Because as much as you might be suffering, you're not the only one in pain. I promise.
I thought it would be easier the more I talked about leaving MAGA, being a 3-time Trump voter. But I have to be completely honest with you that it's not getting easier, and it actually feels like it's getting more difficult because I'm gaining more empathy.
3 times is wild, and trying to guilt trip and manipulate people for not immediately forgiving you for all the harm and damage you've caused to them is such peak narcissistic MAGA behavior. And I'm glad that you've learned the word centering yourself and you're very positive and open to feedback, so I'm going to deliver this as gently as possible. Now, I don't usually get involved in the ex-MAGA conversations because a lot of people obviously have different opinions that are very complex and valid. But I think for me and a lot of people, it falls under the topic of you don't need to forgive and forget in order to move forward. And a lot of us will never forgive you. And I will agree, like you said in your crime video, it's not necessarily always the most helpful thing to put someone down as they're actively trying to unpack. So in those moments, I adhere to the if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all rule personally. But when I saw your original video that was going viral, here was my thought process that might be helpful for you going forward. First, I saw it, and like everyone else, I thought immediately 3 times. God damn. Yikes. And then I opened up the comment section and saw everyone saying, girl, 3 times, we do not forgive you. And to that I said, sounds about right. But then I saw the people who found this information useful. They could relate to you, or maybe their family and friends, and they needed this. And to that I said, those are the people you need to exist for. That's a niche I'm not filling, and I guess someone has to. So understand that the rest of us have been living with this empathy you've recently come across for quite some time, and we're quite tired. And you don't get to harm people for that long and then turn around and immediately demand and expect them to welcome you with open arms. But you do have a niche and a purpose I think you could provide that could bring you that validation you're looking for.
MAGA is, I think people are realizing it was all a lie. It was a big lie for the people. What MAGA is really serving is, in this administration, who they're serving is their big donors, the big donors that donated all the money and continue to donate to the president's PACs and donate to the 250th anniversary and are donating to the big ballroom. And if they're donating to all these things, those are the people that get the special favors, they get the government contracts, they get the pardons, or somebody they love or one of their friends gets a pardon. And it's the foreign countries that are running the show here. It's the major big corporations and what is best for the world. That's really
You know how I know the Orange Clown is losing his MAGA cult? Because they did not obey his latest talking point. Now, we all know that MAGA is the most brainless, obedient, bootlicking cult in the entire world. And they get a lot of their energy and their sense of community from their dumb little mantras, their little slogans that the Orange Clown tells them to repeat. And we've all heard the big ones, right? It's like, lock her up, drain the swamp, make America great again. These are just like nonsense phrases. They don't mean anything. And most importantly, they don't ever come true, but it doesn't matter to the cult because they enjoy saying them, because at the core of them, the seed of them is the idea that somebody else is getting hurt. And the latest one that the Orange Clown and his cabinet of freaks tried to sell to the cult was, remember, short-term pain for long-term gain. Now, the Orange Clown said that over and over again, and all of his little goons went out and said it all over the place, all over Fox News, all over Twitter. And here's the thing, it didn't really work. It didn't really catch on. Now, this was right at the beginning of the tariff insanity. And at the beginning, you know, a few of the cult members tried to be good little soldiers, and they went out and they made videos repeating it, and a few of them would spam it in the comments and, you know, well, blah, blah, blah. But it just kind of faded away. And now, if you don't understand why it didn't catch on, it's because you fundamentally misunderstand MAGA as a cult. And I think a lot of people on the left actually do. Because how many times have I heard, MAGA does not care about being hurt as long as they are hurting others. And this is absolutely untrue. MAGA are the most spoiled, selfish, short-sighted people on the planet. And they do not tolerate discomfort in any way. And even when they cheer on this regime's most vile policies, it's because they think there's something in it for them. For example, when you see them celebrating mass deportations, it's not just because they're gross racists who want to see brown people brutalized. Obviously, yes, that is a factor. They are. But it's also because they think that removing immigrants is going to directly improve their lives. They genuinely believe that there is some fantastical, high-paying job out there with incredible benefits, and the only reason they don't have that job is because an immigrant took it. They believe that they can't afford a house because some immigrant family is living in the house that was meant for them, and once they remove that family, they're going to swoop right in and be able to afford it. There's some cheese slice lady out there who genuinely believes that there's not enough cheese slices in her fridge for all of her gross kids because some immigrant out there is raising the price of cheese. Shout out to the cheese slice lady. I do honestly think about her all the time, and I wonder how many cheese slices she has in her fridge right now. But back to the slogan, short-term pain for long-term gain. This was a fatal miscalculation by the Orange Clown, and this was a fatal miscalculation by any cult leader. Because every intelligent cult leader knows you keep your cult in line by telling them, hey, you got to hand over your blind allegiance, your paycheck, your teenage daughters, because the rapture is coming. What you don't ever do is tell them what day the rapture is coming. Hello, the entire thing will fall apart. And the Orange Clown told his cult there is a day of rapture. There is a day when the economy is going to be flowing. There's going to be no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Your kids' medications are going to be 1,000% cheaper. Your lives are going to be better. All your dreams are going to come true. And that day is January 22nd. And that day came, and now the clock is ticking, and he stands there and he tells them short-term pain for long-term gain? He tells them, buckle up, buttercups. It's time to sacrifice. It's time to be a real patriot. It's time to suffer a little for the greater good of the country. Yeah, freaking right. They might not be in full revolt right now, but their deafening silence at that latest talking point that they were supposed to run with is very telling. Because this is the first time that the Orange Clown has told them, yeah, I'm going to hurt others, but I'm also going to hurt you. And that is not what they signed up for. And before you say, what does it matter if they've lost MAGA? This is authoritarianism. They don't even need their votes anymore. Well, that is not how this regime is acting. They are scrambling to consolidate power. They are scrambling to mess with the midterms. These are not the actions of a regime that has it in the bag. And come Christmas, you think they're not going to remember the words of their dear leader, the Orange Clown, when he told them with a smile on his face, well, maybe your little daughter doesn't need 30 toys for Christmas. Maybe she'd be happy with 2 or 3. I don't think so. Do you?
Many Trump voters, they mock the people who try to warn them about Trump policies. They supported policies that targeted vulnerable people because they thought the suffering would happen to other Americans, but now the reality has arrived at their own door. But it's too late because now the damage has been done, Prices of everything are rising. Groceries, gas, fertilizer, rent, unemployment is up, inflation is worse. Communities are living in fear because of ICE. Others have lost their lives. Fear and anger are everywhere now. And the people who supported all this are now asking for compassion. And the anger that many Americans feel now comes from years of watching cruelty being normalized. It comes from years of watching immigrants being demonized, minorities being attacked, basic human empathy thrown away for politics, People remember being told to get over it when they talked about racism. People remember being mocked for caring about immigrants. Now when MAGA supporters come out and say that you are hurrying too, many Americans are looking at them and saying, now you understand what the rest of us have been trying to warn you for years, Because politics is not entertainment. Decisions made at the ballot box, they affect real human lives. So when leaders normalize fear, anger, and division, the society changes, Families become more divided. Hate becomes louder. And once damage is done, it is not easy to undo. And that's why many Americans are saying it is not easy to easily forget and move on, Because the warnings were there, but too many people ignored because they believed that they would personally benefit while others suffered, And some are leaving the MAGA movement, not because they suddenly discovered empathy, but because the movement stopped serving them personally. And this is what making Americans hesitant to trust them again. Because real empathy means caring about injustice even when it doesn't affect you directly. Real character means standing against cruelty even before it reaches your own door, But many of these voters, they stayed silent or even celebrated when others were suffering, Right now, America is more divided than it was a year ago. Racial tension is worse. Political hatred is worse, The fear inside immigrant communities is real, and the global image of the country has taken damage. And let's hope this is going to be a lesson for many that pain does not stay contained forever. When you support policies rooted in fear and division, eventually that damage spreads everywhere. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.